Hi, everybody. I'm Jonathan. I'm here with Nick. We're from Hindenburg, and we wanted to tell you about a few tips and tricks that we like that are kind of fun, interesting things that you may not know about or maybe have forgotten how to do. So this is going to be an ongoing series from us that is just showcasing different tips and tricks. And today we are going to be talking about a number of things, different ways of selecting, okay? So, Nick, if you could show us some different types of selecting. Maybe let's just start off with the basics. What is selecting?
Yes. Selecting in Hindenburg is pretty straightforward, although there are two different ways of making the selection. Let's quickly show what we're talking about. If we have a region like we have here, if we want to select it, we can click on it and now it's selected. That's one way of selecting. If we want to do a selection of something within the region, we can do a selection like so, and that is a different kind of selection. So we've got two different kinds of selection.
Okay. So once you make that selection where you did the clicking and dragging, right, that second type, you can move just that piece of audio that's within that. Is that correct?
That is correct. So we're only going to manipulate whatever we have selected. So if we wanted to cut this out, we could go like so, and we've just cut out that selected area.
Okay. So, Nick, could you show us with, so now we're looking at one region. If we had a few different regions, let's talk about some things you can do with selecting the different regions.
Okay, let's add a few more regions.
And just to show people, make it a little easier to see, let's maybe color code those regions.
So here we go. And just so everyone can see how we can select a move, if I select a region, I can move that out of the way. So now we can just space these out, just like so. Okay.
Right. Well, what if I wanted to select the blue and the orange or yellow region and just move those two and leave the green one alone? How would I do that?
Good question. There's a number of different ways we can do that. The first thing I want to say is that right now, this region over here, the green one, is selected. If I want to unselect that, I can, for instance, click outside of it, like so. But I could also, at any time, press Escape, and then that will remove all selections. So let's just start there. If I wanted to select just the blue and the orange region, I can first select the blue region, and then whilst holding Shift, I can then click on the next region I want to select.
Okay. Now, if you moved those, they would move together, right?
Yes, they will.
Now, if you were to turn the volume up and down, would that go together as well?
It will indeed. Like so.
Okay. So what if somebody wants to do that, but instead of those two, they wanted to select the blue region on the left and the green one on the right?
In that case, I would start by selecting the blue region, and instead of using Shift, I would then use Command or Control and then select the green region.
Okay. And they move together. And the volumes?
Same thing.
Very cool. So that's Command for Mac and Control for Windows.
It is indeed.
Okay. So that's how you can select different regions by holding down a key and then clicking on the different regions. Is there a way to just select everything that's on track one?
There is. Again, if we select the first one and wanted to select everything on that track, we just use Command or Control A, and it will select everything on that track. And one thing I really want to emphasize from before, what we tried before was selecting one region, then holding Shift and selecting another. What we can also do is select the first region and then hold Shift and then select the last region, and it will select the whole span of regions.
Right. So you can either select the two on either side or everything, all three, or everything in the middle. Very cool. So if you were selecting the first region, and then there were 5 regions in the middle, and you selected the very last one, if you held down Shift, it would select all of them.
Yes. Should we try that?
Sure.
Okay, let's just, actually what we can do is select all these, just say copy, move our playhead, say paste, so then we've selected everything. And then what was it that you wanted to do?
If you hold down that first region, if you click on that and you hold down Shift and select the very last one.
Yep, and we'll select
Everything in the middle.
Yes. Okay. Very cool. So what happens if you have regions that are on 2 tracks?
Okay, let's add some more regions. Actually, I'm just going to, because I'm actually working with it right now, I was just about to do a marquee selection because I use that all the time. And the marquee selection works like this. So I hold down Shift and then I drag a selection with the mouse. So you can see this dotted line. This is a marquee. And then I just let go and it will select all the regions within that marquee. So I actually just wanted to do that just to delete these so I can make some more room. Let's see. Let's add some more audio here. So we have some more clips to play with and we can give them a color. Okay. We're ready.
All right. So there's a special type of selecting that is only available in Hindenburg, which is sort of a selection, and that is linking tracks.
Yes. Linking tracks is very useful if you want to edit something on multiple tracks, but you want to maintain the sync all the time. And it can be frustrating if, let's just do an example here. If I did an edit here, for instance, and just cut this away, that might seem fine, but the issue is when I do a cut here, this also moved and everything is now out of sync and that's a mess. So I don't want to do that. I want to make sure that I'm cutting on both tracks at the same time. So what I can do is I can select the 2 tracks that I want to have in sync all the time. So track 1, I'll hold down Shift and choose track 2. So now they're both highlighted. If I now right click on the track and say link tracks, nothing really happens. But if I click outside on track 3, we can see that's, track 3, that's selected. But if I go back to track 1, it will automatically select track 2 as well. So back to the example from before, I just want to make a selection here, and now it's automatically selecting both tracks for me. So when I do my cut, my sync is maintained, which is exactly what I want.
Right. Very easy way of doing that. So you just have to make one edit. Can you unlink the tracks after they've been linked?
Indeed. Just again, right click on the track name, say unlink tracks.
Okay. And now you can go back to just moving them independently. Okay. So you made a selection before where we did the clicking, we clicked and dragged and made that type of selection. And in doing that, we're using in and out markers, right? Is there another way to manipulate those?
There are multiple ways of manipulating those. As you said, we can drag a selection just by holding down the mouse and just dragging the selection. When we do that, we get these markers up here. We've got the in marker, which is the green one, and the out marker, the red one. We can set them in different ways. So if we just press escape to remove everything. Now, I got my playhead just where I want it to set the in marker, and I can use I for in to set the in marker, and we can see the in marker is set there. I can now move my playhead to where I want to set the out marker and press O, and now I've set the out marker. Actually, I just here have made a slight mistake. Well, it's not a mistake, but I actually had selected track 1 while I was doing that, but I wanted it to be selected on track 2. And the way to move a selection from tracks is just use the arrow keys, and I can just move the selection around.
Very cool.
It's very handy.
Is there a way, if you made a selection, instead of moving it up and down with using the arrow keys, can you just have it select on all tracks in that space?
Yeah, I could do that. So again, thinking of the example from before where I want to keep everything in sync, if I just did an edit here, it will be a mess. So to select on all tracks, I can, with this selection selected, can you say that? You know what I mean? I can say Command A and it will select on all tracks. If I press Command A again, it will remove the all tracks.
So if you were to select on all tracks and do a cut, everything will snap together because in Hindenburg, whenever you cut in the silence, in the space, it shifts everything over.
Yeah.
So very, very handy tool there to just cut things away, have it go on all tracks. You may have noticed that there were just key commands for everything, even many of these features that are kind of hidden, so to speak. Is there another way to, speaking of key commands and using a selection, we talked about I and O for in and out markers, but you can also use the number keys, right?
That's true.
Why would you do that?
Why would I do that? Because I'm busy. And when editing, you want to do things as fast as possible. Let me just show how it works, and then I can explain maybe the thinking behind it. So I want to set an in marker, as we did before. So we set an in marker like that, and set an out marker like so. Okay, so we have the in and out markers. If now my playhead is over here, and I wanted to jump to the in marker, I can do that by pressing 1, and the playhead will jump automatically to the in marker. If I press 2, it will jump to the out marker. And that's because the way that we set markers in Hindenburg is I can set a marker 3 by saying Command 3, marker 4 by saying Command 4, and so on and so forth. And if I just press 3, 4, 5, my playhead will jump to the different markers. Now, that in itself is quite clever. But the in and out marker, they are just marker 1 and marker 2. So actually, if I just use Command 1 and Command 2, that is a different way of setting the in and out markers. And personally, I prefer doing that because then I can just use 1 and 2 to jump to the in and out markers. And without moving my left hand, I just got my thumb and my index finger in the same position, so I can just set the in and out markers and just jump to them. It's just really, really handy way of navigating.
Okay, so there are some different types of selecting. Some of that you might have known, some of it maybe you didn't know. Can you show them what is yours and is also my favorite little handy trick with selecting things in Hindenburg?
And that must be select all to end.
Select all to end.
Select all to end. And actually, if I just add a few more bits and bobs in here, we might start getting an idea of why this is so handy. Because we can start setting up a really complex situation where we have, let's add some more tracks to it. Okay. Whilst you're editing a story, you might suddenly find that, you have a brilliant clip that you want to just insert in here. There are different ways of doing that. You can use insert and so on, but the easiest way of doing it is select all to end. And the way that works is you hold down Option Command on the keyboard, and then you just click on the first region. Once you click on this green region, and then it will select that region and everything else following on all tracks. So now I can just move that out of the way. So I've got some space. I can find a different clip, add that in there. Do the same thing again. Hold down Option Command and then press the first region, and let's just move everything back into place. So within literally seconds, I have done that edit.
Okay, so just again, that was Option Command for Mac and Alt Control for Windows. You hold those down and you click on the region that you want. So, Nick, now that you have the last 4 of those regions selected, or you did, you could very easily just do it again. Okay, what if you wanted them all? Yes, you can click and you can drag and move them, but what if you wanted them all to just snap to a certain place? How does the snapping work?
Snapping, great, good question. So let's just move that slightly out of the way. So what I was doing before was I just moved it manually into place. If I wanted to snap into place, so I want the green region to snap to the end of this blue region, all I need to do is hold down Shift Command and then use the left arrow, and then it will automatically snap to the end. You can actually see that if we move the playhead over, you can see it very precisely just snaps to the end of this region down here.
Right. So very handy tool. It will always snap to the next event in Hindenburg.
Exactly. I think we need to show that. So by doing this again, if I set the playhead here, what will happen is if I now snap again, it will first snap to the playhead as the first event, so to speak, and then it will snap to the end of the region. So Shift Command left arrow.
There you go.
No, that's not what it's supposed to do. Shift Command left arrow, and it will snap to the playhead. And Shift Command left arrow again, and now it's snapping to the end of the region.
Very handy just to be able to move chunks that you've already edited and you want to keep the spacing. You can just pop them around very, very fast. Super handy tool. Okay, everybody. Hope you got something out of that. Learned some new types of selecting. Maybe remembered some that you used to know. Anything like that. We really hope that it's helpful, and we want to continue doing this series of different tips and tricks, things that we like or have designed with Hindenburg, and we want you to know about it, of course. So stay tuned for the next series, and please like and subscribe to the channel.
Back up to that.